Welcome to episode 12 of Wellness Wednesday's audio series. I'm Nissrine, registered holistic nutritionist and mindful nutrition and wellness coach for female entrepreneurs who are looking to prioritize their health and well-being without fad diets and wellness trends. I created this series to bring a fresh perspective to nutrition and wellness, one that is centered on and led by you. There's a plethora of information out there, and it can be really hard to know what to do and eat to feel good in your body. It's easy to get caught up in fad diets and wellness trends, often questioning, doubting, and second guessing your decisions when it comes to the way you nourish and care for yourself. But I wholeheartedly believe that reconnecting with your own innate wisdom to know what your body needs to thrive is the first step to a life-changing transformation and true lasting wellness. And that progress is made by taking small steps mindfully, intentionally, and consistently. In today's episode, I'm sharing 3 strategies to eat healthy even when you're pressed for time. If you've ever felt like you just don't have the time and energy to eat healthy, or that it's too much work and doesn't come naturally to you, you're not alone. I hear this often from potential clients, and I get it. Life is hectic with many competing priorities, and eating habits can easily fall to the bottom of that list, especially if you rely on the traditional all or nothing approach to healthy eating that can feel overwhelming and frankly impossible to keep up with. Rules are constantly changing. One day fats are villainized, the next it's carbs, and you may find yourself wondering if you should be eating this way, that way, or the other, right? And nothing seems to stick, so you give up on the idea of healthy eating because it feels too hard and too complicated. And you end up on the opposite end of the spectrum, completely neglecting your nutritional needs and feeling like you just don't have the time and energy for it all. But the good news is that healthy eating doesn't have to be this way. It doesn't have to be complicated, overwhelming, restrictive, all-consuming, and you don't have to turn your life upside down to make it happen. With a little planning and organization, you can make use of the time you do have to create healthy eating habits that are sustainable and enjoyable for you and your lifestyle. So that's why today I'm sharing 3 strategies that I've used for myself and my clients that are proven and guaranteed to help you create healthy and mindful eating habits that are easy to stick with long term. One is to stock your pantry and refrigerator strategically, because a strategically stocked kitchen is your ticket to creating healthy eating habits and making healthier choices more often. What this means is ensuring that you have a wide variety of nourishing, minimally processed and/or whole foods on hand so that you can create a nutritious meal even when you're pressed for time, without having to spend hours in the kitchen reading recipes and trying to figure out how to put it all together. It's a really simple process. And in fact, if you head over to my website, holisticness.com, I will pop a link in the comments below, holisticness.com/start-here. You'll actually be able to download my simple 5-step framework to nourishing meals in minutes, where it will break down the 5 components of a balanced meal. And you can use that to guide you when you're stocking your pantry and refrigerator and when you're putting together meals, especially when you're pressed for time, because you don't need a recipe to do it. Number 2 is to plan your weekly meals in advance. So if you're looking to make healthier choices with more ease and simplicity and confidence, meal planning is a great way to start. What this means is taking some time each week to anticipate your needs and plan for them. So don't let the words meal planning scare you to think that this is some sort of convoluted process that you have to spend hours doing. Okay? Now, it may involve meal preparation, so advanced meal preparation like batch cookings, meals that you can refrigerate or freeze to reheat throughout the week. But it doesn't have to be that. And it could be, batch cooking just single ingredients that you can repurpose into different meals. But then again, doesn't have to be that either. So it can involve meal preparation in advance, or it can just be kind of a flexible plan of what you're going to eat each day, right? Without having to be rigid and without having to do a ton of work in advance if you don't want to. But the meal preparation does help some people, because if they know that they're not going to have time to spend more than 10 or 15 minutes in the kitchen every night, then we might want to, for example, prepare the meals or the ingredients once or twice a week that you can then use for 2, 3, or 4 days at a time. All right, but again, it can be very flexible based on how much or how little time you have to spend in the kitchen and what your desire is for meal preparation, right? Now, meal planning, though, helps you prioritize your nourishment so it doesn't fall to the bottom of your list when you're busy. If your kitchen is well stocked and you have a plan of how you're going to use your ingredients, you'll feel less stressed about meal times, and it becomes infinitely easier to make healthier choices when the time comes. If you know that you have a quick solution to throw a meal together in a few minutes, you'll be less likely to get takeout or to go grab some fast food. Okay, so that's number 2 for you. Number 3 is to keep it simple. Okay, so sounds simple, but it really is that simple. One of the things I hear most often is, I just wish I could hire a personal chef on some nights. Okay, trust me, I've been there, right? I love to cook and I love to eat, a ton of whole foods and vegetables, but I get, burnt out from cooking too, because I have a family, I have a business, and I have to kind of juggle it all. And some days it can feel a little bit tiring, and we do end up maybe eating some of the same foods on some weeks for multiple days in a row. It gets a little bit boring. It happens, right? But in general, I think it's important to know that, you're going to feel that way sometimes, okay? Some days and weeks get really busy, right? Between work and mom duty, and you just don't have the motivation to spend time in the kitchen, okay? Now, when I find myself low on time and energy, despite my best efforts to plan and be organized, I turn to simple, no fuss, sort of chop and assemble meals, right? So if my refrigerator is stocked with, the minimally processed whole foods, plenty of plants and vegetables, and my pantry has many options, I've got some good healthy proteins on hand, some great healthy fats, I can use all of that to make a meal pretty quickly without having to really spend too much time in the kitchen. So it can be a pot of soup, for example, made from chopping up whatever you have in the fridge. Or you can also use pre-chopped vegetables, right, that you pick up at the supermarket if that's easier, more convenient, or a bag of mixed frozen vegetables, even. And then you can add in a can of tomatoes, beans, and a few herbs and spices, or some shredded rotisserie chicken, and you've got yourself a full meal. And it takes you probably less than 30 minutes to throw it all together, if not less than that, right? A simple chopped salad, right? Made from a bed of greens, topped with other chopped vegetables. You can use leftover roasted vegetables from another meal, from a previous day. You can saute chicken strips or tofu cubes to put on top. So that's going to be a really great option too. You make a homemade vinaigrette using some balsamic vinegar and olive oil and Dijon mustard, and you've got yourself this delicious meal that took no time to prepare, really. You could do a vegetable stuffed omelet with a simple side salad, right? Eggs to the rescue. And if you don't eat eggs, you could do kind of like a chickpea soka, right? Where you take chickpea flour and you mix it with water until you have a nice batter, and you can turn that into an omelet or a pancake that you then stuff with delicious ingredients. All right. We also, on some nights, and this is a really great idea if you have kids, we do a make your own snack plate style meal where anything goes based on what you have in your refrigerator. And this is probably the least amount of effort to put a meal together. Basically, what you would do is just include some form of protein like tofu cubes, smoked salmon, boiled egg, turkey breast. You can then do a variety of vegetables like carrot sticks and fresh fennel, cherry tomatoes, cucumbers, avocado, or make some guacamole. You can do some dips like hummus or a bean dip, a lentil dip, or something like that. And then crackers, that either homemade crackers or a nice very simple ingredient store-bought cracker. And then you've got yourself a nice little charcuterie board or snack plate as a meal. It's actually a tactic that I love to use with my daughter for movie night. And it's something, to prevent her from just filling up on chips and popcorn when we watch the movie. So we still put chips and popcorn on the platter, but with all of these other amazing ingredients. So then she's got variety and color, nutrient dense foods that will fill her up, and she's not going to just fill up on the chips and popcorn. So basically the moral of the story is if you can chop and assemble a dish, you can prepare a nourishing meal in under 20 minutes. All right? Once you're organized, well stocked, and have a good plan in place with a few tried and true quick chop options to fall back on, then healthy eating habits are possible even for the most time-starved person out there. Okay? If time is your only obstacle, then I assure you that these strategies will solve your problem and have you well on your way to creating the healthy eating habits that you desire for yourself. Okay? To wrap it all up and summarize it, stock your pantry and your refrigerator strategically. Keep those amazing nutrient-dense, minimally processed whole food ingredients on hand. Have a plan for the week ahead. It doesn't have to be rigid, restrictive, or complicated, but just a rough idea of what you're going to eat what day. All right? And keep it simple so that you don't burn out. Okay? Make sure that you build in plenty of really easy foods or meals that are easy to throw together just by chopping and combining a few ingredients. All right. So there you have it. And just as another reminder, remember that you can grab my 5-step framework, right, to nourishing meals in minutes on my website at holisticness.com/start-here. The link is below in the notes. So go ahead and grab it and start getting yourself those nourishing, delicious meals in minutes. On that note, thank you for tuning in. If you enjoyed this episode, don't forget to subscribe and share with a friend. And be sure to tune in next week for another episode of Wellness Wednesday audio series, where I share a short audio clip each week to inspire you to connect with yourself on a deeper level so you can start nourishing and caring for yourself more mindfully and intentionally. Until next week, stay healthy, happy, and safe.